Welcome to um, this edition and the premiere edition of the review of the book Objection Overruled. My name is Christian Olatunji. I'm the author of the book Objection Overruled, Outselling by Closing on Every Objection. All right, and I'm also the privileged group managing director of Bespoke Holdings, the parent company for diverse portfolio of our companies, from real estate to education, hospitality, oil and gas, civil works, and our foundation. All right, today we're starting on the review of the book Objection Overruled. It's a book that is targeted at answering the question of what happens, what's the next thing to do as a sales professional, as a business entrepreneur, as a service provider. What is the next thing to do when your prospect or prospective customers says that they are not buying for X, Y, Z reasons? When those you've made presentations to, when your customers, when even your returning customers says, I am not buying. Is that the end of the conversation? Is that the end of it? Or are you supposed to just give up and then go and look for someone else, or what? Like I always say, the first thing to find out is to find out if they are indeed a qualified prospect. What is a qualified prospect? A qualified prospect is someone who has interest in what you're offering, who has the capacity to pay for what you're offering, and has the authority to make a buying decision. A body that has all three in one is a qualified prospect. In some cases, we've had situations where one person has the interest, has the capacity, but does not command the authority. In such case, until you bring whoever has the authority on board, you don't have a qualified prospect yet. When you now have a qualified prospect, someone who has the interest in what you're offering, has the capacity in terms of to pay the value for it, and also is the one to make a buying decision. All right. And this man has now come, or this woman has now come to say, oh, at this time, I may not be interested because of X, Y, Z reason. Like I tell people, for me, one of the most dangerous prospects that I do not like to deal with is a prospect who tell me nothing when we are done and they says, I'll get back to you. Get back to me? When? Is there anything? Many times I'll push further to ask probing questions to the point that I even put myself in trouble, so that you can come out with the actual underlying objections that you have. Because a man who works really hard for his money will certainly have an objection before making a payment. All right. Now it's our job to override the objection, close on the deal, and get value. All right. And that's part of what inspired the book Objection Overruled. All right. And I'm more excited about the inspiration of the name Objection Overruled. It sounds like a court verdict, right? Where a lawyer is saying objection, my lord, and then sometimes the judge says objection sustained or objection overruled. So in this book, we are overruling every objection that your customers, that your clients, that your prospect may bring on board to stop them from making a purchase. All right. And of course, many of our case studies run across real estate, technology, insurance, banking, and autos, even those selling cars and products and services. All right. So this book cuts across whatever sphere that you are coming from, whatever sphere. And for this first edition of our review of the book on this podcast, this first edition, I'd just like to tell a story as to exactly what even inspired the book in the first place. I didn't just come up to say, oh, I want to write a book about handling objection. Yes, even with my over a decade experience in business and sales, I didn't just come up with it, all right? Something inspired it. And so I'd just like to tell the story, and then maybe we can call it a wrap for this podcast. Okay, so sometimes in the year 2024, I was in the city of Sao Paulo in Brazil. We went there to expand our business into the South American continent, and the building where I stayed was a 22-story building, and my apartment was on the 20th floor. All right, the 22nd floor is the floor that has the swimming pool, the bush bar, the barbecue bar, and all that. And so it's just an open area where anybody can go into. When maybe your room is clustered or whatever, or you just want air or something, you can go up. So I usually love that floor. Every evening you'll find me there throughout my stay. And so On this evening, I was on the 22nd floor, and I went to the railings on the edge and I had my hands on it. I looked down just right across the road and I saw that a house which was practically sitting on almost the same size of land that our own building was sitting on was, I was looking at a 5-story building. I saw this 5-story building, and I looked right beside him. I saw a 12-story building. So I was even jokingly saying, if you're on the 12th story, this 5 will still look dwarf to you. But when you're on the 12th story and you look up, these 22 stories certainly look crazier, right? And then while I was just looking at that, I turned to the other side, and the house right behind our own is over 30. I can't remember now, but I think I wrote the exact number in the book. Over 30 stories, right? Way, 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 way taller than our building. And something just occurred to me, which is what makes the difference with these buildings? The land is the same size. The texture of the land is the same. I'm sure that even the land structure, because that entire area has no water, rather it's even hilly and stuff. So whatever inspired how many floors you are going to get to depends on the intentionality and the mindset of the builder. The intentionality and the mindset of the builder. There are people who the definition of success to them is the 5 stories. There are people who probably the definition of success to them is not by story. It's just that they want to be higher than the 5-story man. So they chose to build a 7-story. There are those who wanted to be the tallest in the city, and maybe as at the year, the tallest building was 10, and so they chose 12 stories. There are those who said, I want to make a landmark building, and decided to build the one that I was in for 22 stories. And then there are those who says, whatever height this ground can carry, I am willing to go to the height. And they decided to push further. Remember that the foundation is going to tell on it. Remember that the structural plan, every other thing is going to tell on how you will plan that floor that you are doing. All right. And while I was just there thinking about this building, thinking about the mindset of the builders, thinking about the mindset of those who made this project, something occurred to me that it is the same thing in sales, in business, how people choose where they will plateau. People choose where they would arrive. People choose what would be their greatest height. So there are salespeople who have left their sales to time and chance. If this man buys, great. If he does not buy, no problem. I'll look for another person. But there are those who have said, I must close on every deal. Every transaction that I have must be closed. If it turns out that it is not closed, then it has to be that I made every effort, but probably there was no capacity on the other hand of the customer. Of course, if the client cannot pay for what you're offering, then there's no point. There are those who have seek knowledge, who have pushed the boundaries, who have made all effort to ensure that they close on every transaction. And for those who have known me very well, you will know that the difference between myself and a lot of other salespeople is not that maybe I even prospect much more than other people. Basically, I don't really, not like I prospect more exceptionally than an average or a successful salesperson. The difference between myself and an average salesperson is that if you have 10 customers, and you will see sales strategies have taught us that, if you can close on 30% of all of your prospects, you are really doing great. All right. Many times after I qualify my prospect and I have 10 qualified prospects, believe me, I close about 8 to 9 of them. And I can assure you that even that one, I can explain how come that deal didn't close. And this is something that I've done over and over and over. And it's so organic that I've also taught tens and tens and tens of people. All right. That objections are not the reason people will not buy. Like I tell people when I was introducing the book at the launch, this book may not be for people who are not willing to prospect. No, this book is that you are prospecting, you are meeting new people, and you are qualifying them, and you find out that they are qualified prospects. But the challenge is that some way, somehow, they give excuses and they don't buy. All right. This book is for those category of people where it's going to break it down to you step by step, bit by bit, on how to close on those people, on how to close on those prospects, on how to close on those transactions, on how to overrule those objections. All right. So I encourage you. This is not even a review to encourage you to buy the book. It's a review that I'm trying to let you know that as a salesperson, as a business person, you need to learn how to overcome every objection your customer brings. It is not okay to say okay. When your customers say, oh, for instance, the real estate people, oh, I'm not going to buy this land because it's too far. Or when the man who is selling the car, the man is saying, oh, I don't like white cars. And all you have on your shelf is white. And then you suddenly say, okay. And maybe it's not like you can even make a quick arrangement for the color he wants. You just say, okay. Or the man, you've made a presentation on your tech, and then the people say, oh, you see, we don't think that the innovation you're bringing would work in line with what we are currently doing in our company. And you just say, oh, really? Okay, then better luck next time. No, sir. No, no, no. Your job is to learn. Learn it. Be deliberate. Learn how to close on every sale that come your way. All right. So this is where we call it a wrap on this edition. On this way, I introduce the book to you. On the next edition, we're going to take bit by bit. I will just take a few seconds, a few minutes to just take some points of the book and just elaborate for you. Okay, so this objection, how I've handled it by experience, what I've done, what I've seen, what I've taught other people, the experiences, the testaments of people. How, in short, let me not betray myself. You cannot afford to miss the reviews on this page. So subscribe, like, share, and you will see the next one shortly. God bless you.